Sean, I've been in Minnesota 4 days total, working on obtaining this indictment. We arrested 2 more, and I made it very clear, if you protested, if you rioted in that church, we are going to find you and we're going to arrest you. Don Lemon and 8 others have now been charged in a single indictment because you cannot attack, and that's what it was an attack style on a house of worship. You can't do it. It was a Sunday morning. There were parishioners, there were families, there were grandparents, there were people with canes, there were children upstairs in the nursery. They bombarded in, and as Don Lemon put it in his own words, they were on their way to a resistance at that church.
But speaking about ICE and celebrities, former CNN host Don Lemon, he was arrested and charged on Friday after entering a Minnesota church and filming anti-ICE protesters as they disrupted a service. He and several others, including another journalist, were charged with conspiracy against religious freedom at a place of worship and injuring and intimidating and interfering with the exercise of the right of religious freedom at a place of worship. Now, Don Lemon's lawyer says that he will fight these charges vigorously and thoroughly in court. Hillary, I want to get your take on this. I mean, he claims he was there as a journalist, that you're hearing from other people saying that this is a bad thing for free speech, and others say that he was just there as a protester. What do you make of it?
Well, actually, obviously, the press does have a right to report, and that's in the First Amendment, but there's the right to worship. And Don Lemon was not just there to report because, and this is the problem for him, when they say a picture tells 1,000 words, a video is proof. There is a video, and the footage demonstrates and shows us that he was actually accosting and preventing someone from leaving that church. There were many mothers with small children that were frightened and afraid, and he was blocking someone's exit. He was actually trying to intimidate her with a barrage of questions. And that is not the purview of the press, Gabriella, to intimidate, to basically, eliminate someone's exit from a place of worship. That is not provided for in the First Amendment. So that is a criminal offense. He has been released from jail with no bail. I know that he has pleaded that he wants to go to France for some holiday in the summer, and he was granted that. But he could receive up to a year in jail for this. I will say, though, Gabriella, this is actually all very good news for Don Lemon, because obviously he was fired from CNN. His show isn't getting much traction, and I think this is his way of getting right on top of all the headlines, including us talking about him. So I think that he's probably rather glad about this.
Getting a bit of publicity. Well, you've gone back and forth with Don Lemon a few times. Just a few years ago, after Queen Elizabeth's death, you clashed with him on CNN. He asked you why the royal family isn't paying reparations for colonialism. Here's just part of this exchange.
Then you have those who are asking for reparations for colonialism, and they're wondering, $100 billion, $24 billion here and there, $500 million there. Some people want to be paid back, and members of the public are wondering, why are we suffering when you are, you have all of this vast wealth? Those are legitimate concerns.
When across the entire world, when the slavery was taking place, which was the first nation in the world that abolished slavery? The first nation in the world to abolish it. It was started by William Wilberforce, was the British. In Great Britain, they abolished slavery. 2,000 naval men died on the high seas trying to stop slavery. Why? Because the African kings were rounding up their own people. They had them on cages waiting in the beaches. No one was running into Africa to get them. And I think you're totally right. If reparations need to be paid, we need to go right back to the beginning of that supply chain and say who was rounding up their own people and having them handcuffed in cages.
Hillary, it went viral for a reason. What was it like going back and forth with Don Lemon?
Well, actually, Gabriella, I would like this opportunity to share with your audience and with you that he rather blindsided me, and it was rather actually underhanded, and I would actually verge on saying dishonest of him, because I had been on twice with him during the 10-day mourning period after the Queen passed, and I kept the voicemail. I have the screenshot still of it, and the voice from his booker, and it basically said, and it exactly said verbatim, Don would love, the word was love to have you back on again. There was nothing about he's going to ask you about reparations. There was no heads up. So I was totally and utterly unprepared. If you saw, I sort of tripped over my words there and skipped a couple of things because I was just blindsided by it. So I do know that he is, underhanded at the way he goes about things. And certainly when I was distraught over the Queen's passing and after the 10-day mourning period of being on air with every network every single day and up late, I was exhausted. It was 10:30 at night, and I was surprised I was able to pull up those facts because of things I'd read. If I hadn't been an avid reader, I wouldn't have known those facts and been able to answer.
It's very sneaky, isn't it? I mean, if you want to have a debate about it, at least be honest about why he's inviting you on the program. Unbelievable.
You wouldn't do that to me.
No, I wouldn't. And we could have a proper debate, right? And make it more interesting and better for everyone who's listening.